Hi, I'm Brenda of Indie Midwest Mama. I'm so glad you could join me. This channel is my way of documenting all of our family's adventures. My husband and I are both originally from California, and about a year and a half ago, we moved here to the Midwest. It's a dream living on 20 acres and in an old farmhouse. We have 3 older children that are in adulthood now, leaving us with just the 4 of us at home. We sure have lots of chores to do. Thankfully, we can begin passing some of those on to the boys. We tend to add animals quickly here. Here we have our 2 cows, Edna and Lily. Others have commented we tend to add our animals by the 2s, and it's usually always 2 girls. I bet you can guess the reason. We hope that our cows are going to be having calves this fall, but we still do not know. We didn't ever get them checked, so it'll just be a surprise whenever that happens. This winter we were able to raise 2 hogs. This is when they were quite small, but we're really enjoying the meat now. That's not something we ever planned on doing, but the more and more we get into this homesteading business, the more it just seemed to make sense. And of course, we started from the beginning with chickens. They're the gateway farm animal, right? One thing we're really working on with our boys is the value of hard work and the value of perseverance. There's lots of opportunities to practice this, even just for mom and dad. Of course, there's always time for fun, and each season brings its own sweetness. We never dreamed that we'd be living out here on this acreage, enjoying all the benefits of raising our own food and having family time and many adventures. We're so glad you could be here to join us. Check out our stock of actually pickled pickles right now. And then our stash of cucumbers is just getting out of hand. So we have a lot more we need to do with these things. I'm here to try some of my fermented pickles. I have to say, this is our first time fermenting pickles. We've pickled pickles, but fermenting them is different. And I don't know, like, I've followed some of the advice of others who say if you're new to it, to go the minimum amount of time. So it's been 4 days, and to taste it then, and it just gets stronger and stronger the longer you let it go. So I thought, let's just try it now and see what we think. But to me, it tastes a bit on the salty side. I don't know if that's because we are not used to it and they are saltier and more sour, or if I actually added too much salt. So I'm about to make another batch, and I'm gonna go a little bit less salt this time, but that could just be because it's fermented in salty brine and it gets sour, and I don't know. But so I'll show you my process and my recipe. I have 2 different recipes going right now, and I'm still trying to tweak things. I'm trying out. I'm gonna try adding some fresh basil this time, and I even added a little bit of sugar, so to tone it down, tone the saltiness down. So let's go at it. Okay. And this salt is not in there yet. All right, let's get that last of that salt in the top. It's really important that you fill your jars all the way to the 2-inch headspace, because you need to be weighing it down. You need to weigh your food down underneath the level of the water so that you don't get mold on your food. So I'm gonna weigh that down and label it, and I'm gonna put both of these back out on the counter and date them as well, and we will see what happens and what we think of this new batch. Okay, these are some silicone little things that I have in my house that I'm using to weigh the cucumbers down below the surface of the water. And then this is a trick I just learned from another gal, that it's just a Ziploc with water in it, and then you put it in your jar and it weighs the food down. It pushes the food down below the water. So I think that is gonna work. You just gotta check that nothing is rising above that surface there. Just sitting out here enjoying a rare, cool morning. We had rain last night. There's still a little drizzle going on, and it's some thunder in the distance. It's just a beautiful morning with my Bible, with my coffee before the household is up yet. And yeah, there's still beautiful clouds and sunrise light. So I was thinking today about my day, and I believe today is going to be a great day to mix up a batch of yogurt. So I wanted to bring you along with me. I have been talking about fermenting foods, and yogurt is one of the ones that I've been doing probably for about 13 years. Why do yogurt? Why go through the hassle of yogurt? It's not that expensive at the store. It can be bought fairly inexpensively, but about 13 years ago, I had a toddler who was struggling with his digestion, and it was recommended to feed him more yogurt in his diet, and I just didn't love the options at the store. The higher quality ones were really expensive, and the lower quality, cheaper ones were low quality. They were not the best ingredients, and I just decided I'm going to try to make it. So I started that, and I found it wasn't as hard as people were saying. I don't have a yogurt maker. I don't use an Instant Pot. I have an Instant Pot, but I don't love the result of it's a lot runnier of a yogurt in my experience. So I just do a very minimalist method using a stock pot, and I'll take you along with the process. But I make it plain, and the family uses it in smoothies with granola in the mornings. We find it just a nutritious, filling, healthy option for our weekly diet. So, and it does really help with the probiotics, with digestion in general. And as I have been hearing on this topic, that it's great to include a fermented food at every meal, or at least a fermented food every day, to for health benefits, for immune system benefits. And so that is one main thing that I try to keep making. And I found that I do use just a basic cow's milk. I don't buy organic at this point. I just buy the basic brand, a store brand, and the yogurt prices out to be a little over $1 per quart for a pure healthy food that doesn't have anything added. I know what's in it, and I don't add sugar or flavors or anything. It's just a plain yogurt that we then add fruit and honey or whatever when we eat it. So let's check it out how I make it. Thanks for coming along. Here I've got my whole milk, my washed jars, my starter here that I had to buy, and a big stock pot for heating up the milk. So the process for making homemade yogurt is you do need to repasteurize your milk. This is a step some have debated, but it is just a precaution. You're heating your milk up to 185 degrees, and this is the most time-consuming hands-on part of making yogurt. Just heating up that milk slowly in the pot. You don't want it to boil, of course, and you don't want it to burn on the bottom of the pot. So I'm using an instant read thermometer to keep track. And once it hits 185, I pull it from the stove, and I use my sink to cool that yogurt or that milk back down. You want to cool it to 120 degrees, and that can be done by leaving it on the stove and stirring it every once in a while. It takes longer that way. I like to use an ice bath here in my sink. I just separate my sink using my actual ice container from the freezer, and then I just fill that side with ice cubes where the pot is, and I stir it, keep track of temperatures, and you got to keep track, because if it drops below 120, you need to actually heat it back up, because that is a crucial step of yogurt making. It is keeping your milk mixture at 120 degrees for 2 to 3 hours. Some even let it ferment longer for the extra probiotics, and it breaks down the milk. If anyone has issues with lactose, then that's what you would want to do. So here I am adding my starters. You can use 1 cup of your previous yogurt batch, but my family likes to eat mine up when I'm not paying attention, so I had to go ahead and buy some. And here I am whisking it into that milk mixture, and now I'm pouring it into my jars. I like to fill up about 5 quart jars, because since you do add 1 cup of yogurt as a starter, it really is more than 4 quarts. So I like to do 5 just to give more room. Here I am just putting the lids on all of them and putting them in an ice chest. This is my preferred method. Then I add water that is hot water to the jars, to the ice chest, and I'm going to take the temperature along the way because I want to make sure that water is about 120 degrees. So sometimes I have to heat water just to get it a little hotter if it's cooler. Close up ice chest, and it'll be sitting for 2 to 3 hours. I usually do about 2 hours. So here it is finished. It looks a little bit on the runny side, but when we pop them in the fridge overnight, they are perfectly firm and delicious. And I whipped up a batch of my homemade granola because it's a must have with my yogurt. I made plain yogurt. I do full fat, and we don't usually sweeten it because my granola is fairly sweet, and then the kids add honey if they would like it sweeter. But it's great with smoothies or frozen fruit on top. It's amazing. We go through about a gallon of yogurt about once a month, depending on how much people are craving it. I hope you learned a lot. Let me know if you decide to try it.